I, 29F, and my husband Christian, 31M, have been married for 4 years now. Our relationship started 6 years ago when we met at a mutual friend's party. The connection was instant, and within a few months of dating, we knew we were meant to be together. Christian proposed after a year of dating, and we had a small, intimate wedding with close family and friends. From the beginning, my relationship with my mother-in-law Victoria, 58F, was strained. Coming from a middle-class background, I didn't fit into her ideal image of who her son should marry. Victoria comes from old money and never lets anyone forget it. When Christian first introduced me to his family, Victoria's disapproval was evident in her tight-lipped smile and cold demeanor. During our dating period, Victoria constantly tried to set Christian up with daughters of her wealthy friends. She would invite these women to family dinners without warning us and create awkward situations. Christian always handled these situations well, making it clear that he was committed to me, but Victoria never stopped trying. I had always dreamed of having a big family since childhood. My own family wasn't very large, just my parents and me. I wanted my children to have siblings to grow up with. Christian shared this dream, and we started trying for a baby soon after marriage. Our first pregnancy happened 2 years ago. We were overjoyed and started planning everything. Victoria's reaction was lukewarm at best. She made comments about how the baby would probably look more like my side of the family, saying it with such disdain that her meaning was clear. I lost that baby at 10 weeks. While my parents and Christian supported me through the grief, Victoria said maybe it was for the best as we were too young to be parents. A year later, I got pregnant again. This time, we waited longer to tell anyone. When we finally shared the news at 12 weeks, Victoria's first response was to ask if we were sure this one would stick. I lost that baby too, at 14 weeks. Victoria told everyone who would listen that miscarriages usually happen when something's wrong with the mother. Recently, we discovered that conceiving again would be extremely difficult for me due to some medical issues. This news devastated us, but Christian assured me that we would find a way to have our family, whether through medical intervention, adoption, or whatever path felt right for us. My sister-in-law Heidi, 27F, announced her pregnancy 3 months ago. She had married Tom, 32M, last year in a lavish ceremony that Victoria spent months planning. Tom comes from a wealthy family like them, making him the perfect addition to their family in Victoria's eyes. Since Heidi's announcement, Victoria has been unbearable. She constantly talks about her first grandchild, emphasizing the word first while looking at me. She sends me articles about adoption horror stories and tells Christian he should think about his future. Last week, Victoria invited me to Heidi's baby shower. Christian had an important business meeting and couldn't attend. I was hesitant given Victoria's behavior, but Christian thought his mother might be trying to include me in family events. He suggested I go and try to maintain peace. Victoria's mansion was decorated like something out of a magazine. Everything was pink and gold, from the balloon arches to the flower arrangements. The food was catered by an expensive local restaurant, and there was even a professional photographer. From the moment I arrived, Victoria made sure I felt unwelcome. She seated me at the furthest table, away from family members. During the games, she announced that I shouldn't touch any baby items as some people bring bad energy. When other guests looked confused, she explained how unfortunate it was that some women just aren't meant to be mothers. Throughout the event, Victoria kept making comments about good breeding and strong family genes. She would touch Heidi's belly and say how the baby was already showing signs of the family's superior genetics. The breaking point came during the gift opening ceremony. Victoria stood up to make what she called an important announcement. She started by talking about how blessed she was to have a daughter who could give her grandchildren. Then she looked directly at me and said that certain people brought misfortune wherever they went, and she wouldn't let my bad omen affect her grandchild. She went on to say that in her culture, she's not even from a different culture, women who couldn't have children were considered bad luck. She suggested I stay away from Heidi for the remainder of her pregnancy. Some guests looked uncomfortable, but others nodded along, probably not wanting to contradict their wealthy friend. Heidi sat there with a smug smile, rubbing her belly protectively whenever she looked my way. Not a single person spoke up in my defense. I grabbed my purse and walked out, but Victoria followed me to the door. She said Christian deserved someone who could give him children and that I should do the right thing and divorce him before I ruined his life completely. When Christian came home that night, I told him everything. He was furious in a way I'd never seen before. He immediately called Victoria on speakerphone. She tried to defend herself, saying she was protecting her family from bad luck. When Christian asked what she meant, she said that ever since I joined their family, things had gone wrong. She claimed my inability to carry a child was a sign that I wasn't meant to be part of their family. Christian told her she was dead to him and hung up. He then called Heidi, asking why she allowed this to happen. Heidi said she agreed with their mother. She said she didn't want me around her baby because she didn't want her child catching my bad luck. It's been a week since the baby shower. Christian has blocked his mother and sister's numbers. Victoria keeps trying to reach him through different numbers and social media accounts. Extended family members have been calling us, saying we're being too harsh and that Victoria was just being protective of her pregnant daughter. I feel guilty that Christian had to cut ties with his family because of me, but he says I have nothing to feel guilty about. He says he's ashamed it took him this long to see his mother's true colors. Should I have just sucked it up and stayed at the shower? Was I wrong to tell Christian what happened? Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my last post. Your support helped me realize I wasn't overreacting to Victoria's behavior. The past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster of emotions with some unexpected developments. The biggest news first, I'm pregnant. I still can't believe it when I say it. It happened naturally, which shocked us given what the doctors had told us. I first suspected something when I started feeling unusually tired. I ignored it initially, thinking it was stress from everything that happened at the baby shower. But then I realized I was late. I bought a pregnancy test on my way home from work but was too scared to take it. The test sat in my bathroom cabinet for 2 days before I finally gathered the courage. When I saw the positive result, I burst into tears. I immediately bought 5 more tests of different brands and took them all. They were all positive. Christian was still asleep when I took the tests. It was 5 a.m., I couldn't sleep from anxiety. I woke him up crying, and he panicked thinking something was wrong. When I showed him the tests, he just sat there staring at them for what felt like hours. Then he started crying too. We spent the morning holding each other, scared to be too happy but unable to contain our joy. We called my doctor's office as soon as they opened and got an emergency appointment. The doctor confirmed the pregnancy and said while it was still very early, everything looked good. She's monitoring me closely given my history. We're being cautiously optimistic but trying not to get too excited yet. Now for the other shocking development, Tom discovered he's not the father of Heidi's baby. He called Christian yesterday, completely broken. Apparently, he had been suspicious for a while. Heidi had been acting strange, constantly guarding her phone and making excuses to go out alone. He found some suspicious text messages a month ago but Heidi convinced him she was just venting to an old friend about pregnancy stress. Tom secretly did a paternity test using a home kit. When it showed he wasn't the father, he had it done professionally to be sure. Both tests confirmed he wasn't the baby's father. When he confronted Heidi, she broke down and admitted she had been sleeping with her ex-boyfriend throughout their marriage. The ex was her college boyfriend whom her mother had deemed unsuitable due to his lack of wealth. Victoria's reaction to this news was mind-boggling. Instead of acknowledging her daughter's infidelity, she somehow blamed me. She's telling everyone that my negative energy corrupted their perfect family. She claims that ever since I entered their lives, I brought nothing but misfortune. She even suggested that my bad karma somehow made Heidi stray from her marriage. Heidi called me crying yesterday. She admitted that she only supported Victoria's behavior at the baby shower because she was feeling guilty about her own actions. She thought if everyone was focused on me being the bad person in the family, no one would notice her suspicious behavior. She begged me to talk to Tom, to tell him people make mistakes and deserve second chances. I told her she lost the right to ask me for favors when she participated in my public humiliation. The ex-boyfriend wants nothing to do with Heidi or the baby. He's apparently engaged to someone else and has blocked Heidi's number. Tom has already filed for divorce and moved out of their house. Victoria is in damage control mode, trying to salvage her family's reputation in their social circle. She's spreading rumors that Tom must have tampered with the test results because he wanted out of the marriage. We haven't told anyone about my pregnancy yet. Given my history and everything that's happening, we want to wait until we're past the first trimester. Christian says he doesn't want his mother's negative energy anywhere near us during this precious time. We found a beautiful house in a neighborhood closer to my parents'. It's about an hour away from our current place, which means we'll be far from Victoria's daily drama. The house has a lovely backyard and enough bedrooms for the family we hope to have. We move in next month. Tom reached out to me separately to apologize. He said he had noticed things weren't right with Heidi for months but was in denial. He also said he felt guilty for not speaking up at the baby shower but was too preoccupied with his own suspicions about Heidi. We told him he's welcome to stay in touch if he wants to. The extended family has finally stopped calling us about reconciling with Victoria. I guess Heidi's scandal has given them something else to focus on. Christian says he feels lighter after cutting contact with his toxic family. He admitted he always knew his mother's behavior was wrong but was conditioned to accept it as normal. I'll update again when there are more developments. For now, we're focusing on staying stress-free and healthy for our baby. My parents are thrilled about the pregnancy but understanding of our desire to keep it quiet for now. It feels good to be surrounded by people who genuinely care about us. Update 2. A lot has happened since my last update. The most positive news is that I've successfully completed my first trimester. All our tests came back normal, and according to our doctor, the baby is developing perfectly. Christian attends every appointment and tears up every time we hear the heartbeat. We found out we're having a girl, and we couldn't be happier. Unfortunately, our peaceful bubble burst when Victoria found out about my pregnancy. One of the nurses at my doctor's office turned out to be friends with her and broke patient confidentiality by telling her about my regular appointments. We filed a complaint against the nurse, and the hospital is investigating the breach. Victoria showed up at our new house last week. Fortunately, I was at work, but Christian was working from home that day. According to him, she was crying and begging for forgiveness. She claimed she had changed and realized her mistakes. She brought expensive baby gifts and said she had a right to be part of her grandchild's life. Christian didn't let her inside the house. He told her that her behavior at the baby shower had shown her true character and we couldn't trust her to change. Victoria became hysterical, saying she had already lost Heidi and couldn't bear to lose her son too. Speaking of Heidi, her divorce was finalized last month. Tom got to keep their house and most assets since he had proof of her infidelity. She moved back in with Victoria as she had nowhere else to go. Her ex-boyfriend blocked her on everything when she tried to demand child support. She's 7 months pregnant now and struggling with the reality of being a single mother. Victoria has been telling everyone in their social circle that I use black magic to curse their family. She claims I cast spells to steal Heidi's marital happiness and transfer her good pregnancy fortune to myself. The ridiculous part is that some of their wealthy friends actually believe this nonsense. Christian finally snapped after hearing about these rumors. He sent a detailed message to the entire family along with evidence of Victoria's behavior over the years. He attached screenshots of all her cruel messages about my miscarriages, including ones where she suggested he leave me for someone more fertile. He also included recent messages where she accused me of practicing black magic. The family's reaction was mixed. Many were shocked to see Victoria's true face. His Aunt Maria, who had previously always defended Victoria, called us crying with apologies. She said she had no idea about the horrible messages and couldn't believe her sister could be so cruel. Heidi reached out again last week. Her pregnancy has been difficult, and she said she finally understands the fear and anxiety I went through with my miscarriages. She asked if we could meet and talk things through. She said being abandoned by her ex made her realize how wrong she was to treat me badly. Christian said it's entirely my decision, but I'm not ready to forgive her yet. We've hired a lawyer to address Victoria's black magic accusations. The lawyer sent her a cease and desist letter, warning that we'll sue for defamation if she continues spreading these malicious rumors. Victoria's response was to tell everyone that this legal threat proves I'm evil. On a happier note, Christian and I have started preparing the nursery. We chose a woodland theme with soft greens and yellows. My parents visit every weekend to help with the painting and assembly of furniture. My mom has been teaching me her family recipes, saying my daughter needs to grow up eating her grandmother's cooking. Despite everything, this pregnancy has been a blessing. Every kick and movement reminds me that sometimes happiness comes when you least expect it. Christian says our daughter is already showing her strength by coming to us against all odds. Update 3. This will be my final update. Our beautiful baby girl, Emma, was born last week after 38 weeks of pregnancy. Despite all the stress and anxiety, the delivery went smoothly. Christian cried more than the baby when he first held her. We're both completely in love with our little miracle. Victoria tried to force her way into the maternity ward. Apparently, she had been checking local hospitals daily since my due date approached. When she found out I was admitted, she rushed to the hospital claiming to be my mother. Thankfully, we had provided the staff with strict instructions about visitors. They stopped her at the reception, but she caused a huge scene. She started screaming about grandmother's rights and how we were cruel to keep her from her grandchild. Security had to physically escort her out when she tried to run past them toward the maternity ward. The hospital staff suggested we get a restraining order, which our lawyer is now processing. Heidi gave birth 2 months ago to a baby boy. Her ex-boyfriend showed up at the hospital, but only because his fiancée convinced him to take a paternity test. Once it confirmed he was the father, he made it clear he only wanted minimal involvement, just child support and occasional visits. Heidi was devastated as she had hoped he would leave his fiancée for her. Living with Victoria isn't working out well for Heidi. According to family members, Victoria constantly criticizes her parenting and reminds her how she brought shame to the family. Heidi sent us a long email apologizing for everything and asking for support, saying she feels depressed and alone. We haven't responded yet. The black magic rumors finally stopped after our lawyers sent Victorian notices to all the family friends she had spread these stories to. Most of them have distanced themselves from her, not wanting to be involved in potential legal troubles. Her social standing has taken a massive hit. Christian recently got promoted to regional manager, but it requires us to relocate to Arizona. We see this as perfect timing. The distance will make it easier to maintain our no-contact policy with Victoria, and we can give Emma a fresh start away from all this drama. My parents are sad about us moving but understand it's for the best. They've already planned monthly visits and set up a nursery in their house for when we visit. Christian says he wishes he had parents like mine growing up. We want Emma to know what genuine family love looks like. Victoria still creates new social media accounts to message us about Emma. She posts about being an alienated grandmother and how cruel we are to keep her from her only grandchild. We document everything for the restraining order case but otherwise ignore her attempts at contact. Looking back at the baby shower incident, I realize it was a blessing in disguise. It finally showed Christian how toxic his family was and gave us the push we needed to break free. Sometimes the hardest paths lead to the best destinations. Tom moved to New York and is doing well. He sends Christian occasional messages and seems happier away from all the drama. He started dating again and says he's grateful he found out about Heidi's true nature before they had children together. Our focus now is giving Emma the loving, drama-free childhood she deserves. We've learned that family isn't about sharing DNA, it's about sharing love, respect, and support. Emma might not have her paternal grandmother in her life, but she has plenty of people who genuinely love her. This journey has taught us that sometimes cutting toxic people out of your life is the best gift you can give yourself and your children. We're finally at peace with our decisions and looking forward to our new life in Arizona.